Hello everyone, this is Bilal Arif. I am a psychologist by profession and I am working as a psychologist, clinician, researcher, and lecturer at having different roles at different institutions. So the idea to meet here, to meet or discuss or talk to everyone out there who are listening to me, is a global thing and especially for the global south. So the idea is to bring researchers from global south to a platform and to build their capacity, so how we all can like help each other grow and support in this academic publishing thing. So I will be taking everyone from the very start, like the need in global south, either Africa, Middle East, South Asian region. So how much need, or you may say that how important is it for the people in this region to know how they can build their own journals, and specifically if we talk about the roles of editorials, editors, reviewers, or students, lecturers. So how they all can contribute, like even medical colleges, how they can build their own journals. So I will be taking everyone from the very start, like to the journal's vision, scope, and till the end, how they can manage and get indexed in a Q1, to get their journals indexed in a Q1 journal. So that was about the idea of being here to talk to everyone and like persuade everyone for this cause. Now I'm moving on to my next slide, and that is the overview of this journal. So I will be talking about an overview of the presentation of this journal. So there's no doubt the process is very complex. But despite problems or difficulties, it is an achievable process. People have achieved this from the global south. They joined together, and so after like defining their vision and scope of the journal, they went on to like their mission, how they can like build like gather people, those who are very intellectual, or you may say like qualified in respective fields, to bring together in the editorial boards, and then like getting registered in ISSN and DOIs. Definitely it is a legal process, like to legitimize their journal. So then building an open journal system, and like launching, and then it's like the whole process, how you can like uh, market it, and make sure that people recognize your journal and submit their papers. But the most important thing is maintaining the legacy, you may say, or that standard level, that should not be compromised. One of the most important thing is indexation, that we all suffer from the global south. We all must have suffered whenever we have submitted, whenever we have like sent our papers, manuscripts to journals, Q1 journals, which are managed in high income countries, or you may say Europe or America. So the rate of acceptance is very low for us. I know people who have submitted like 30 or 40 odd papers, and with good quality, with rigorous scientific, using rigorous scientific methods, still their papers were not accepted and rejected. So we all need to, and one of the main reasons behind this workshop or developing this group is to get our journals indexed in Q1 journals. So we all should have the capacity. I know the resources are very limited in global south, but we have the best practices. We can learn from that and make sure that our journals are indexed, starting from, you may say that before going on to indexation, the our website should be very clear, each and everything, either the author guidelines, the review process, publish, licensing, copyrights, each and everything should be very clear in simple plain English language, so that people can understand what we are trying to convey, what is our mission and vision. So the most important thing is indexation and promotion. So we should decide that how many times that. So the website should be very clear and self-explanatory to everyone whoever goes and visits our or your website. So it should have metadata attached to it, so Google Scholar can pick and publish it on their search engine. Then one of the first indexations that you may say is DOAJ, Directory of Open Access Journals. So we should like make sure that our journal is aligned with it, following rules that are governed by it. Then you may say Web of Science, Scopus, and PubMed indexations. So they all have their certain criteria, and we need to make sure that we are aligned with their guidelines. So we should stick to it. And our people from global south regions like you may say Lebanon, Syria, Egypt, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and from Ethiopia, Ghana, Zambia, Malawi, Kenya, so Mozambique. So researchers, lecturers from this region, they should have access to journals, uh, to own journals governed by the global south, so that they can get it published in their journals, and they can say yes, they are also up to the mark of the level that we see people in the west. So that was an overview, and now I will move to our next slide, that is define the journal's vision and scope. So the first and the most important thing whenever we are developing a journal is like where we are supposed to align that journal, like either the journal is should target the medical thing, or college. So that was about the overview of a journal. Now we will move on to our next section, that is step one of our presentation, like defining the journal's vision and scope. So we all must have studied in universities and a department. So we see that each department has a journal. If they don't have, they always try to have a journal of their own. And so let's suppose if we have a public health department, or any medical college, social sciences, computer sciences, or AI. So whichever department it is, they have their respective theme. Like if we are talking about South Asia, people may try to like develop a journal around climate change, post-conflict regions in Middle East, or underrepresented local public health challenges in sub-Saharan regions. So it all depends. The department want to highlight from their own like public health journal, or mental health journal, or local public health challenges, or a journal of journal of climate change theme from South Asia. So it all depends. So then they decide their target audience, whom they're going to target, like students, lecturers, researchers, scientists from that specific region, a country, a province, or a bigger region, or you must say global south, low income countries. So it all depends, and which type of articles or content they will publish. They will publish original articles, reviews, what kind of reviews, letter to the editors. So it all depends on like how they want to like shape their vision and scope. So that was like all about that was about step one, how we are going to define our journal's vision and scope. Now I will move to our next step. So that is how we are going to assemble the editorial board. So a journal from the global south, they have to be very careful, and they have to work very hard to appoint an editor-in-chief, and that editor-in-chief should be highly skilled, qualified in that particular domain. Again, I would say the college of any university, or independent, or NGOs, whoever has decided their vision and scope of that journal. So for that particular aspect or domain, that individual, that editor-in-chief, should be highly skilled, qualified, having experience. And under that editorial, a diverse editorial board should be placed. So people representing for different region, provinces, countries, and bigger like from people from Europe, America, Africa, South Asia. So there should be a mix of culture as well, mix of like representation. And how we are going to divide responsibilities of editors, sub-editor, editor ethics, associate editors, and then the process of peer reviewers. What we have seen in journals from high income countries, that they often lag in peer reviewers. Whenever we have submitted our articles, we see we are told everyone that we do not have peer reviewers who can review our journals from that respective theme or field. So it costs us a lot from the global south. You may see, like, you may witness months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. I have seen who have, like, whom people have to wait like 7 8 months. So one of the challenges that we all will witness is to gather, or is to have relevant peer reviewers of each respective field, or rather I would say the journal that each college or university will be developing. They should have ample amount of reviewers and qualified reviewers for that specific field. Definitely having diversity, and they should be qualified and have respective experience, so that the articles they are reviewing, that they should have enough skill or knowledge, then they would be able to perform those duties. That was about how we are going to assemble the editorial board. The next is one of the most important things in developing journals, is how we are going to create the journal's digital infrastructure. So why is it very important? Because whenever we will apply for indexation, uh, those agencies, or you may say, they will evaluate us from our website. So open journal system is highly recommended for journals each. So this is highly recommended, and it is widely used. So whenever we are developing a journal, our website should be user friendly, and it should has it should have complete comprehensive detail of each step that is mentioned on the slide right now about the journal. So sorry, before going to that, I would say the website should be user friendly and accessible. It should be live. And so now moving on to the essential pages that a journal should have, is about the journal. So basic details: who owns that journal, that college or department or university. The scope, vision, or mission of that journal should be clearly mentioned in simple English language. And then having an editorial board, the board should be mixed, diverse, highly qualified, having experience. And like photographs of the board members should be placed with names, designation, qualification, experience, and their contact details, ideally email or contact number. So it is highly recommended by the agencies, those who evaluate for indexation, that the board should be diverse, and it should not be fake. So next is author guidelines. It should be clearly mentioned in the author guidelines how how the manuscript should be developed, what kind of font size, font style, type, number of pages, abstract thing, introduction, method, procedure, results, how we are going to, like, have figures or tables in the manuscript. So it should be clearly and specifically mentioned. Submission instructions, how people will going to submit on the portal, what kind of other documents they need to make. So one of the things, peer review is blind or not blind. It should be clearly mentioned. How long will it take? 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks? It should be mentioned in that section as well. Ethics statement should be mentioned, that people need to declare their ethics, that they have taken consent of people, if required or not. So open access, that the journal is open access, or people need to subscribe it, and the contact information of the journal, of the editors, like, we should we or I would say those who are interested, and the journals from the global south should highly practice this thing, that their contact information should be mentioned on their journal. So it was about the journal's digital infrastructure. Now we will move on to a section which is about the legal aspect of a journal, how our journal should be legally legitimate. So step 4 is about registering our journal for in ISSN and DOI. ISSN has both print and online thing, both aspects. So we will get two numbers from ISSN, and the method to apply for ISSN in is their portal. This is their online portal, so we have to go on their website and we have to share our details, the name of journal, editorials, and the college who owns it, and other details. And it has a fees. It costs us. It has a fees as well, so we have to pay for it. So, and after applying for it, after some time, they will get back to us by letting us know our number, our that dedicated number. And the next thing is DOI, that is digital object identifier, which each article has that unique link. So it is one of the mandatory things as well, so we need to apply for that as well. And again, it is a portal. I will share the link of that portal in our description, so that everyone can go and visit that website as well, what it needs to. So that was about step 4. Now we will move on to our step 5, that is how we are going to develop editorial and ethical policies. So the first and the most one of the most important thing is our peer review model, how we are going to like develop that thing, either it be single blind, double blind, or open. So what is single blind? So uh, one of the reviewers or authors, they will not be aware of who is going to review or whose article is that. So the highly recommended model is double blind. So the author is not aware who is going to review my article, and the reviewer is not aware who has submitted, who are the authors of that, and that is highly recommended to for the ethical aspect of a journals, to minimize uh, the illegal things, the malpractice in this thing or society, or you may say in this domain. So next is developing publication ethical policies aligned with COPE Committee on Publication Ethics. They have a dedicated standards. So even our indexation bodies, they always ask or request that each website or each journal should make sure that they are aligned with COPE guidelines. So I will share the document or link in our description. So anyone who wants to read and go through that, they can have an idea about the COPE standards. So plagiarism and retraction policy. So journals have the right that how much plagiarism they should allow or they need to allow. So I have seen journals who allow about 19% plagiarism, that 19% content can be copied from internet sources or other articles. At times I've seen that journals have mentioned on their websites that it should not go beyond 15%. So that was about the content that we take from other sources, articles. But one of the other things is AI. As after the arrival of AI, so it was identified and it was observed that people are using AI to generate the content. I am not going into the legality or the ethical boundaries or concepts that it should be used or it should not be used. Rather, I would say that if it is used, it should be declared that we have used AI, which large language model, and how much content is generated from that. So if it is properly cited, then I would say this is fine. And as far as journalists are concerned and the use of AI, I have seen in many journals that those who allow 19% level of AI. So if I am submitting an article, so it should the use of AI or the content generated by AI mentioned in that journal should not be more than 19%. Otherwise, the journals will not accept. So the board, they need to sit and identify and make clear guidelines that what level of plagiarism and AI will they allow. And then one of the responsibilities of the board or the journal, that they have to decide either they are going to like charge for each article for we say APC, article processing fees, and across the board journals they charge nominal fee of, you mean, I should not say nominal, I have seen journals charging $30 or $50 and so on. So it all depends on the journal. Either they are going to charge or no. So it all depends. And one of the things that we have observed that journals waive APC for people, or you may say students or researchers, those who are from low income countries and or from those designated areas. Their fee is waived if they apply for it. Last thing from this slide is Creative Commons license, that are content, who has the copyright, the journal, the author, who has, and it should be publicly or easily accessible once it is published on the website. So it is a responsibility of the journal that they should make sure that if an article is accepted, it should immediately be published on their website for the use of public, so that people can read, and like people can like go on and read the latest literature. So that was all about the policies of editorials and ethics. So now we are on step 6, and it is a launch of the journal and call for papers. So what we are supposed to do in this step is, once we have established our once we are done with our vision, mission, scope, we have developed our board, our website, our policies, then we are going to launch it. And how we are going to launch it? Through academic platforms, social media websites. One of the most famous, you may see, are LinkedIn and other platforms, so that the researchers or students or our target population should be aware that a new journal has been launched in the market, and people can go on our website and see the vision and mission scope if they are from that particular field. So people can go and submit their articles. So how, and again, the highly encouraged way for the marketing thing is social media platforms. The journal should make sure that on even on their campus, they should paste posters, and flyers should be distributed across platforms like LinkedIn and all the other social media websites. So the board needs to make sure that they should reach like-minded researchers, students, lecturers from that particular field. Let's suppose, for instance, if the journal is about climate change in Africa, so the university or the journal needs to make sure that all those researchers, departments, government agencies, students, they should reach them by any means. Like they should have like bulk email marketing, or their departments, they can call, or that they can drop an email to the departments, so they are aware that a new journal has been launched of a climate change in Africa. So that was about the step 6. Sorry, the launch of journal and how the journal should market for the call of papers. Next step, we have step 7, manage submissions and peer review process. So as I mentioned earlier, that OJS, Open Journal System, is one of the most common and widely used methods, widely used method by the journals. So each website is integrated by OJS, and uh, or in layman's terms, I would say that button of submission. So whenever we click on that submission button on each website of journals, so it will take us to a new platform or new portal thing. It should be user friendly. People should be able to use it with ease. They should not have any difficulty. It should be mentioned in clear English, simple terms, so that, and the process should be easy as well, easy and understandable. So once an article is submitted on the system, it should go to an editor, and then editor is supposed to assign that article to reviewers. The reviewers should be qualified, should be PhD, and having experience of research, and ideally prior experience of article reviewing. So one of the things that are highly recommended is double blind anonymity. So the author is not aware that who is going to review my article. So it minimizes the risk of conflict of interest or malpractice. And on the other hand, the reviewer is also not aware that whose article is this, who are the authors, or who is the institution that owns this article. So that is to maintain high rigorous content, high quality. So, and uh, that is highly encouraged by the society or the boards or those who are working in this domain. So the last bullet that I have on this slide is to track reviews, revisions, and editorial decisions. So there comes a point that the editor, they have to be very vigilant in the whole process, that an article should not lay behind, and they make sure that it is being reviewed in given time of 4 weeks or 6 weeks, whatever they have mentioned on their website. And if a reviewer has accepted and they haven't shared their feedback in giving time, then it is the role of that editor to reach and ask the reviewer to like give their reminders if they're available, and if they're not available by any means, then a new reviewer should be assigned to that article and make sure that it is being reviewed and the feedback is given on time, so that the article is not behind and the authors are being informed about the process. So the role of editor is very important in tracking the reviews and articles, and if a reviewer has asked for revisions, again the editor has to make sure that they are on it and reach the author, or like to get or to share the feedback to the authors. And once the revision is received, again the process like to share that with the reviewers and make sure that things are completed on time. And once the revisions are done or completed by the authors, then it is on the editorial board. Either they want to go ahead and approve the manuscript or they want to reject, depending upon the quality and the quality standards that followed by the article, the authors of the article, or they want to reject it for their reasons. So that was about the submission and peer review process. Now we will move on that how we are going to publish our first issue, so that our journal is online and accessible by the people of our community or that specific domain. So if we so once we have approved the articles that we have received, so ideally for first issue we should have at least 5 articles or max of 10 articles we should have for our website. So it's once the articles are finalized and proofread accepted, so the editor or the team needs to assign DOIs, digital object identifiers. Each article has a unique ID of DOI, and once it is identified, placed on the website. So one thing is embed metadata. So again, the technical team has to embed accepted articles, so that once it is published, the Google Scholar can access that by using this. So we have seen that we have heard people like saying that our articles are not a Google Scholar. So there comes this thing of embed metadata. So the technical team of journal has to make sure that each article is embedded metadata, so the Google Scholar can access that thing. So ideally, articles are published in the PDF format, which is easy accessible by the people. And as I mentioned earlier, ideally for the first issue, minimum of 5 articles should be published after high rigorous process of peer review. So that was about how we are going to publish our first issue. The next step that we have is to prepare our journal for indexation, because obviously without indexation our journal is of no worth. So as I mentioned earlier, while I was starting this discussion, that the guidelines should be clearly mentioned for each thing. It should be in simple plain English language. And one of the things that the article should have a title, author, list of authors, an abstract of given word limit, whatever the journal decides, and keywords. It can be 3, 5, 7, 8, depending upon the journal again, whatever they want to have. The technical team should make sure that they have tags of metadata, And once it is published, once articles are published, they should be published in PDF or HTML format, and people can access those articles without any login restrictions. They should not be asked to log in to read those articles. And the journal needs to make sure that DOIs are in place and URLs are there and website is accessible live, so people can go and go to that website, especially once we submit for indexation. The indexation body or agency, so whenever they want to evaluate or check their website, it should not be like it should not be the case that the journal is not live and they're struggling to access it, so it gives a very bad impression. So after evaluating internally that either we are on the checklist and we have check all the boxes that we need to that we need to make sure that we are online and we are on track. The next step is apply for indexation. So the first thing, the you may say the first or the initial indexation that people go for is DOAJ, Directory of Open Access Journals. So typically they take 2 to 3 months to evaluate journals. So the link is given on the slide. People can go and access that and see whatever is required from their side. So ideally, if one issue is published on the website having at least minimum of 5 articles, the articles should have been processed by the rigorous method that we have discussed earlier. So then we had then all the policies of ethics, plagiarism, copyrights, author guidelines, peer review process, each and everything should be mentioned on the website, easily accessible by the body of DOAJ whenever they want to evaluate. Whenever you submit and they want to evaluate your journal, everything should be mentioned on their website. So it helps and ease the process of evaluation. The last thing for DOAJ is editorial board listed. All the names with pictures, qualification, experience should be mentioned on the website that this is our board and who governs this journal. And next is Google Scholar, as we discussed earlier, that the metadata component should be tagged. So there's no process, no portal, no submission, no evaluation by the Google Scholar. It's just that we need to go into the Google Search Console and we have to enable plugin and we need to make sure that our website has embedded metadata. So that was about DOAJ and Google Scholar. So now we will talk about other indexation bodies that are highly accepted or widely recognized. So the first we have mentioned on this slide is HEC, Higher Education Commission, that is explicitly for Pakistan. So they have a portal. They publish call for journals once a year in September, October. So all those interested journals can go on their portal and apply for it. So one of the things that they ask is a minimum of 2 issues. Total of 10 journals should be published and a time period of 1 year. So if a journal is of age 1 year and they have published 2 issues of overall 10 articles, they can apply for it. Definitely after the legality aspect of ISSN number, DOIs, quality and diversity in board. I have mentioned the link of their website. So those interested from Pakistan, they can go on this website and apply once HEC announces their call for journals. Next, one of the highly recognized global entity, Scopus. So the link is given on the slide. People can access that as well to see their requirements. So the age limit of a journal should be 1 to 2 years, and whatever we have discussed earlier, the quality of papers, the diversity in board, transparency in the process of peer review, transparency in policies, user-friendly website. So it should be there. So if it is there, so you can go on the website and apply for the journal. And they take time. They can take like 4 to 6 months or 8 months or a year or so. So it all depends. So it depends on them. So then we have Web of Science. So I have mentioned email. So how people can go on to this and apply for it. So again, all the process that we have mentioned earlier. So if people are going step by step, DOAJ, Scholar, or I would say from the very start, whatever we have discussed, that clear mentioned vision or guidelines or scope. The board should be diverse, qualified. Reviewers should be qualified, having experience, a good portal of submission, the peer review double blind process, pub, policies should be mentioned on the website. So if everything is online, then people can go for Web of Science and they can apply for it. They take time, like you may say around 12 months or so. But if we are on it, if we are following all standard guidelines, people can get their license. People can get in their indexation. Sorry, I would say. So one of the things that is PubMed Central. So from biomedics or healthcare or health medical. So again, I would say that we have discussed the quality of journal, quality of papers, policies that should be followed in this case too. And those who are interested, they can go on the link that is mentioned under PMC. They can apply for it. One thing I would say that there is no rocket science, or there is not such thing that is impossible. So if we are following the right guidelines or policies, I would say everyone can go and apply for it and get it indexed. It's just that having the right mindset, having the right vision, and having the right people. So we all need to gather right individuals who are qualified, who have experience in particular domains. So if we are following all the policies, guidelines, the whole process, we should be able to get indexed in each of the databases that we have discussed right now. So step 11 is promote your journal. So we all are aware of what is LinkedIn or X or ResearchGate. So I would say whoever is applying for whoever is developing journals, they need to make sure good social media presence. Link they should have a social media account as well, with good followers, followers of those who fall in their scope, who those who are their target audience. They should have ample followers of students, researchers of that particular domain, good number of followers on X or ResearchGate. So each article is published on their website, should be shared on all across all social media platforms. So the journal should be in collaboration with several entities. They should be present in conferences. They should like organize conferences. It all depends on their budget or feasibility. It can be annual, biannual, quarterly. They should be in contact with institutions so that then they should receive good ample number of articles for the process, and then they can filter out which article has the quality and follow the guidelines of that journal. One of the things that the authors should be encouraged to self-archive articles. So that was all about how we are going to promote our journal and like to get maximum articles from the community or from our target audience. So the last thing that we have is to track metrics and how we are going to improve our journal. So it's like the whole process. So we started from the vision and scope. The last thing is once we complete the process, then then the journal need to sit and think, evaluate themselves, how good they were. They can like see their citations from which like authors or institutions or regions their articles are being cited. So they need to see either they're getting citations or they're not getting citations. They need to see how they're going to evaluate their thing. Then the number of downloads, they need to think and see which type of articles are being downloaded or views, which authors are being read the most. So the type of articles, the authors, their affiliations, their entities, their regions, the journal needs to see that which is being read the most, or the most downloaded articles. And one of the things of the marketing team should do is to share that metrics or feedback on their social media platforms, that this author or this paper has been downloaded the most or the viewed most or read most, to encourage those authors to publish in your art in your journals again and again. So we need to see the number of submissions, how many articles are we getting, as we mentioned earlier, that we need to have at least 5 articles, but out of which number, out of how much articles that we should have 5. So it tells us a lot that where do we stand, and either we are getting the right audience or not, either we are doing right marketing, we are in right affiliations, conferences, right kind of people in our board or no, or there's a problem in a review process. So we need to have annual meetings of board and see if we need to align our scope or policies, and a timeline should be given for the whole process from the scratch, like the process of all these 12 steps. Whenever a new journal is being developed or the idea is being floated, they need to sit and develop a Gantt chart, so that they can track their progress when they are on vision, when they are on open journal system, or like submission stage or the marketing stage. So it will help them to be on track. So it was all about how we are going to establish our journals and get our journals indexed in the databases. So the idea of this workshop or training or session, or you may say interaction, is to encourage people from the global south to take the initiative to come forward. Let us sit together and see how we all can build our capacities. I know that we have limited resources in our settings, but we have the knowledge, we have the skill. So if we can bring together our people, like-minded, qualified, having experience, so I believe we all can do it. There is nothing worthwhile that we cannot achieve. So that was all about. I will share this with the people around, and I will mention required links in a description so that people can go and read as well. Thank you so very much.